Many people enjoy cheese and include it in their meals several times a week, even later in life, and there is nothing wrong with that. But what most people don't realize is that not all cheeses affect the body in the same way, especially after 60, when digestion, circulation, and bone strength deserve a little more attention. Some cheeses can actually support your body with valuable nutrients. Others may quietly work against comfort, energy, and long-term well-being when eaten too often. The goal here is not to remove something you enjoy, but to make smarter choices at the cheese counter so your meals support you instead of slowing you down. In this video, I'll walk you through 4 cheeses that tend to be friendlier for people over 60 and 4 that are better enjoyed rarely or avoided altogether. We'll start with the helpful ones. Good cheese number 4 is aged Gouda. When Gouda is aged for many months, sometimes over a year, important changes happen inside the cheese. The proteins break down into smaller pieces that are easier for your digestive system to handle. This matters because as we get older, breaking down heavy proteins can become more difficult. Aged Gouda is also one of the few foods that naturally contains vitamin K2, a nutrient that plays an important role in guiding calcium to the right places in the body. Instead of allowing calcium to settle where it is not helpful, vitamin K2 supports the movement of calcium toward the bones, where it supports strength and stability. This is one reason aged Gouda is often appreciated by people who want to support both bone and heart comfort as the years go by. Another benefit is that much of the natural sugar found in milk is reduced during the aging process, which means many people who are sensitive to dairy find aged Gouda easier to tolerate than fresh cheeses. It also contains beneficial compounds created during fermentation that support digestion and gentle inflammatory balance in the body. To enjoy aged Gouda in a supportive way, a small portion is enough, about 1 to 1.5 ounces. Letting it sit at room temperature for a few minutes before eating improves flavor and makes it easier to digest. Many people enjoy pairing it with apple slices or whole grain crackers, which adds fiber that works well with the natural fermentation compounds in the cheese. Good cheese number 3 is authentic Parmesan. Not the powdered kind in a can, but real, aged Parmesan made using traditional methods. This type of Parmesan is aged for a long time, often over 2 years, which makes its protein very easy for the body to absorb. Even people with sensitive digestion often tolerate it well because the proteins are already broken down into smaller, usable pieces. Parmesan is also rich in minerals, especially calcium, and these minerals are naturally balanced with others that help your body absorb and use them efficiently. It also provides a complete set of amino acids, which are the building blocks your body uses to maintain muscle and support tissue repair. Another interesting feature of aged Parmesan is that it contains natural peptides that support calm and comfort in the nervous system, as well as amino acids that help maintain focus and steady energy during the day. Like aged Gouda, Parmesan is naturally low in lactose due to the long aging process, and it contains beneficial fermentation compounds that support digestion. Instead of grating it, breaking Parmesan into small chunks helps preserve its natural structure and flavor. A portion of about 1 ounce after a meal is often enough to enjoy the taste and benefits without overdoing it. Some people like to enjoy it with a few drops of aged balsamic vinegar, which can help enhance mineral absorption and adds a pleasant contrast of flavor. So far, we've looked at 2 cheeses that are both flavorful and supportive when enjoyed in moderate portions. Next, we'll move to cheese number 2, which is especially valued for its beneficial fats and natural enzymes, and then to cheese number 1, which many people consider the most balanced option of all. Good cheese number 2 is grass-fed cheddar that has been aged properly. The words grass-fed and aged really matter here. When cows eat natural grass, their milk contains higher levels of beneficial fats that support normal inflammatory balance and overall metabolic comfort. These fats are different from what is typically found in cheeses made from conventionally fed animals. Aging is just as important. When cheddar is aged for several months, natural enzymes remain active and continue breaking down proteins and fats into forms that are easier for the body to use. This means digestion tends to be smoother, and the nutrients are more available to your system. Grass-fed aged cheddar also provides fat-soluble vitamins that support vision, immune comfort, and bone maintenance. It also contains vitamin K2 in a form that works together with calcium to support bone strength and healthy circulation. Another helpful feature is that aged cheddar can still contain natural beneficial bacteria that support digestive balance, especially when it has not been heavily processed. These bacteria produce compounds that nourish the lining of the digestive tract and support overall comfort. To get the most from this type of cheese, it is best not to overheat it. High heat can reduce the activity of helpful enzymes. Instead, let it come to room temperature and enjoy it as part of a snack, or with vegetables, whole grain bread, or fermented foods like sauerkraut, which complement digestion. A serving of about 1.5 ounces is usually enough to enjoy the benefits without adding unnecessary extra fat to the diet. Now we come to good cheese number 1, which many people consider one of the most balanced cheeses available. Good cheese number 1 is authentic Swiss-style Gruyere. Traditional Gruyere is made from high-quality milk and aged long enough to develop a rich nutrient profile and excellent digestibility. During aging, beneficial bacteria produce natural compounds that support normal cholesterol balance and gentle inflammatory control in the body. These same fermentation processes also contribute to the creation of vitamin B12, which supports nerve health and energy metabolism, both important as we get older. Gruyere also contains amino acids that support the body's natural antioxidant systems, helping protect cells from everyday stress. It is rich in minerals such as phosphorus, zinc, and selenium, which support bone strength, immune comfort, and normal thyroid activity. One of the reasons Gruyere is often easier to digest than many other cheeses is that its proteins are broken down into very small pieces during aging. This allows the body to absorb them efficiently without placing extra work on the digestive system. Some studies have observed that older adults who regularly include high-quality aged cheeses like Gruyere as part of balanced meals tend to maintain muscle strength more easily, which supports independence and mobility. Gruyere can be enjoyed in thin slices with whole grain bread or gently melted into warm soups and vegetable dishes. It is best not to expose it to very high heat for long periods, as gentle warming preserves more of its natural compounds. A portion of about 1 ounce is usually enough to enjoy its flavor and nutritional value. So now you know 4 cheeses that can fit nicely into a balanced diet after 60 when eaten in reasonable amounts. But not all cheeses are created equal. Some products in the cheese section are far more processed and may place unnecessary stress on digestion, circulation, and overall comfort when eaten regularly. Next, we'll talk about cheeses that are better enjoyed rarely or avoided, especially if you want your food choices to support long-term well-being. Now let's talk about cheeses that are better to limit, especially if you want your food to support comfort, digestion, and steady energy as you get older. These are not about never enjoying food again. They are about understanding which products are more heavily processed and may place extra strain on the body when eaten often. Cheese to limit number 4 is processed cheese slices. These are the individually wrapped slices often used for sandwiches and quick meals. Although they are called cheese, they usually contain much less real cheese than you might expect. A large part of the product is made from added oils, stabilizers, and flavor enhancers that help keep the slices soft and uniform. These added ingredients can be harder for the digestive system to handle, especially for people who already notice bloating or discomfort after meals. Another concern is the sodium content. Processed cheese slices often contain a lot of added sodium, which can contribute to fluid retention and may affect circulation comfort when eaten regularly. They also do not provide the same natural enzymes and beneficial fermentation compounds found in aged, traditionally made cheeses. That means you get fewer of the supportive nutrients and more of the ingredients that simply add texture and shelf life. In addition, the way these slices are made involves high heat and heavy processing, which can change the structure of proteins and fats, making them less friendly for digestion. So while having one occasionally is not likely to cause immediate problems, relying on them as a regular cheese choice does not give your body much in return. Cheese to limit number 3 is shelf-stable cheese spreads that come in jars or tubs. These are products that can sit on a shelf for long periods before opening, which already tells you something about how heavily they are processed. To create that smooth, spreadable texture and long shelf life, manufacturers add modified starches, refined oils, and preservatives. Most of the natural nutrients found in real cheese are reduced during this process, while ingredients that are not naturally part of dairy are added in their place. These spreads also tend to be very high in sodium, often much higher than block cheeses or traditionally aged varieties. For people who are watching their blood pressure or who notice swelling in their legs or hands, this extra sodium can be uncomfortable over time. Some cheese spreads also contain flavor enhancers that can be stimulating to the nervous system in sensitive individuals, which may affect sleep quality or cause restlessness after evening snacks. Another thing to consider is that because these products are soft and easy to spread, it is very easy to eat much more than you realize, which increases the intake of all those added ingredients. From a nutritional point of view, these spreads offer very little compared to natural cheeses and can quietly replace better food choices if they become a regular habit. That is why many people choose to save these products for rare occasions and focus more on whole, minimally processed cheese options instead. So far, we've looked at two types of cheeses that are better kept to a minimum because of how they are made and what is added to them. Next, we'll look at two more types that often seem convenient or gourmet, but may not be the best choice for regular use, especially for people over 60. Cheese to limit number 2 may surprise some people because it looks like a healthy shortcut: pre-shredded cheese sold in bags. The main issue here is not the cheese itself, but what is added to it. To keep the shreds from sticking together, manufacturers coat them with anti-caking agents such as cellulose or starches. While these are not dangerous in small amounts, they can interfere with how the cheese melts and how well your body absorbs some of the nutrients. These coatings can also be harder to digest for people with sensitive stomachs. Another thing to consider is freshness. When cheese is shredded, it has much more surface area exposed to air. This means it can lose flavor and beneficial compounds more quickly, even before you open the package. Pre-shredded cheese is also more likely to contain additives that help prevent mold growth, which can affect the natural balance of bacteria in the digestive system when eaten frequently. There is also a quality issue. The cheese used for pre-shredded products is often made from lower-grade blocks that are processed specifically for shredding, not for taste or nutrient quality. For these reasons, buying cheese in block form and shredding or slicing it yourself is usually a better choice for both flavor and overall food quality. It takes a little more time, but your body gets a more natural product without extra coatings and preservatives. Now we come to cheese to limit number 1. This one is often seen as a gourmet choice and has a very strong, distinct flavor: blue cheese. Blue cheese is made using specific molds that give it its characteristic taste and appearance. For many people, this is not a problem when eaten occasionally. However, blue cheese is very high in natural compounds called histamines, which can affect some people more than others. Histamines can sometimes contribute to headaches, flushing, digestive discomfort, or feelings of restlessness in sensitive individuals. Blue cheese also contains higher levels of naturally occurring compounds that can stimulate the nervous system, which may not be ideal for people who already notice sleep difficulties or nighttime alertness. Another factor is sodium. Blue cheese tends to be quite salty, and because of its strong flavor, it is easy to use more than you might with milder cheeses, increasing sodium intake without realizing it. It is also very dense in calories and saturated fat, which can add up quickly if portions are not kept small. For these reasons, many people find it better to treat blue cheese as an occasional flavor accent rather than a regular part of daily meals. Enjoying it rarely and in small amounts is very different from using it several times a week. So now you have a clearer picture of the cheese aisle. There are cheeses that can fit nicely into a balanced diet after 60, especially when enjoyed in moderate portions and paired with whole foods. And there are products that are so processed or so intense that they may work against comfort and long-term well-being if they become everyday habits. This is not about perfection. It is about making small choices that support your body more often than they challenge it. You don't need to give up foods you enjoy. You just want most of your choices to work with you, not against you. Many people notice that when they switch to simpler, less processed foods, digestion feels easier, energy feels steadier, and even sleep can improve over time. Before we finish, I'd like to hear from you. Is there one cheese you enjoy the most, even knowing that it might be better as an occasional treat? Or have you ever noticed that certain cheeses make you feel better or worse afterward? Your experience may help someone else who is watching and trying to make sense of their own food choices. In the next video, we'll look at other everyday foods that can quietly affect circulation, joint comfort, and energy levels, and what you can choose instead to support your body more gently. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.